Hey guys, welcome back to the Prehistoric Life Podcast. I'm your host, Eric Crawford, and today we're diving into another battle for the tournament. Today we have Yutyrannus versus Anklyosaurus, the armored tank versus the feathered tyrant. Now, this will be an interesting one because this is one where size doesn't actually matter. I know that probably doesn't make sense, but let's dive right into this and I'll talk about it a little bit. So let's dive right into Anklyosaurus. Coming in at about, I'll give it that edge and say 2 meters. 2 meters tall, which is about 6.56 feet. But it's clearly like half, so I'll give it about 5.6 feet. 5.6 feet tall. And then for length, it's coming in at around 6 meters, which is roughly 19.6, so about 20 feet long, give or take. And this thing is coming in with a whopping weight of 11,000 pounds or 5.5 tons to about 18,000 pounds, which is roughly 9 tons. So I don't know where I got 2. So anywhere from 5.5 tons to about 9 tons. So this thing was a Goliath. This thing was very much so a Goliath. And I was taller than it. Yippee! And here's the thing. Here's the interesting part. Ankylosaurus had something else going on with it. So everybody knows that Ankylosaurus had those rough scales or whatever, but it also had the tail club. So that thing could swing. So the Smithsonian has to say, with a pro baseball player can swing its bat with a force of 13 newtons per second. Arbora says an Ankylosaurus tail club would impact at an impulse of up to 4,800 newtons per square inch. Or no, per second. Yet the dinosaur fossils humans have discovered show little evidence of injuries consistent with such impacts. Ankylosaurus' heavy tail could break the bone of an ancient crocodile relative. Please be respectful of copyright. Unauthorized use is prohibited. Screw them. We'll get through it. And here's the good thing. Well, not necessarily the good thing, but the interesting part of it. While it had that tail club, it also had these very bony plates down its side, on its side, that were very bumpy. These are called osteoderms. Now, if you don't know what an osteoderm is, think of a turtle shell. A little turtle shell. Those are osteoderms. They're very rough, very hard, and very difficult for predators to bite through. Think about the types of things that have to eat turtles. Can a snake eat an adult turtle? No, but a crocodile can. So things with very powerful bite forces that can bite through the osteoderms are able to hunt these things. They're very rough. They're actually very rigid and sharp too. So if you bite them in the wrong way, you cut your mouth open too. So the interesting part of the interesting part is that unless Yutyrannus can bite through them very clearly, very cleanly, or is possibly smaller than Ankylosaurus, it might not actually affect it. Now, Ankylosaurus, it has a very useful reason for being tiny, because this isn't like Hypsilophodon, where it's just some small theropod, where if a big predator like Allosaurus or T-Rex were to come up and bite it or hunt it or something, that it would be preyed upon. But Ankylosaurus is tiny. Ankylosaurus is small, well, not tiny. This thing is far from tiny, but it's short, so that its body, that whenever it fights, it actually lowers part of its, or that part of its body to the prey, so that more of its back is faced while it swings its tail club. And as you know, like a turtle shell, you're not going to be able to pierce that easily. So we're going to see if Yutyrannus can pierce it. And speaking of which, let us go ahead and dive into Yutyrannus with its size estimates. Hang on while I pull that up for y'all. Coming in at about 3 meters tall, so it is taller than Ankylosaurus, which is about 9.84-ish. So about 10 foot tall. And coming in at a whopping 9 meters long, which is about 30-ish feet. Yutyrannus in height towers over Ankylosaurus. Now, that's not the most important thing. Here's the weight. 26,000, 2,600 pounds, which is about 1.3 U.S. tons, and about 3,100, which is about 1.55. So at max, this thing is 1.55 tons. Not even on the lower end of Ankylosaurus. I seem to have accidentally turned off the Ankylosaurus page like a ding dong. There it is. So, like we said earlier, Ankylosaurus was anywhere from 5.5 to 9 tons. So Yutyrannus will not be tossing around Ankylosaurus with any ease. Just to make that clear. And here's the thing about its bite force. Yutyrannus has a bite force of 11,517 newtons. And the bite force to break Ankylosaurus osteoderms I don't really know. Apparently. So think about T-Rex. T-Rex had a bite force of 35,000 newtons. You know what? Let's just look at the bite force of T-Rex. T-Rex had a bite force of 35,000 newtons of force. At Yutyrannus is measly 11,500. I'm going to say that Yutyrannus, while it could blow a kill blow on Ankylosaurus, it's not going to be able to get to the osteoderms. So this will be, but here's the thing about Yutyrannus. It has its forelimbs. So it might be able to like slam up against Ankylosaurus and scratch at the underbelly. Or try and flip it. But Yutyrannus does not have a strong enough bite force to break through the osteoderms of Ankylosaurus. So this will be a war of its arms and possibly part of its bite force. If it can flip Ankylosaurus over, then Ankylosaurus is done. It'll be able to feast on its underbelly and all that. But Ankylosaurus, with that 4,800 psi tail club, will be able to swing and keep Yutyrannus off of it. So before we dive into this battle, here's a word from our sponsor, Dinosaur Trips. Now, if you want to go see these amazing creatures on the road with all of their glory, go shout out to my boy Dinosaur Trips. And go check out Dinosaur Trips. They take you on all these amazing adventures through history where they show you all these amazing dinosaurs. And if you use code, if you don't use code, if you tell them that Prehistoric Life Podcast sent you, they will give you $250 off your tickets. That's right, $250 off your tickets. Now, I had an interview with him. He is an amazing guy. It is worth your trouble. There's a bunch of beautiful, beautiful museums. Here's their Instagram for anybody who wants to go see it. They post a lot of amazing stuff, and they have one in the UK coming up. But it is an all-women's thing. But so, sorry to my dudes out there. Maybe he'll do a Allosaurus dude fest discovery for us, maybe. I don't know. Different discussion for a different day. Maybe I'll bring it up to him as an idea. But again, that is tell them Prehistoric Life sent you, and they will give you $250 off your tickets. So let's dive right into this battle. So alone Ankylosaurus is grazing on some grass and munch. And a Yutyrannus stalks it from some nearby bushes. Yutyrannus charges out, roaring at Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus snorts and beats its club against the ground. Yutyrannus charges and jumps on the back of Ankylosaurus and tries to bite at its neck, but its heavily armored neck keeps Yutyrannus away. Yutyrannus just scrapes and files down its teeth on the osteoderms. Yutyrannus is slashing and trying to bite at the osteoderms on the back. Yutyrannus is not able to get through the osteoderms, but it's sitting on Ankylosaurus' back. Ankylosaurus is shaking and shaking, side to side, trying to get it off. And eventually it tips over. Bam! Or it bends half its body, tossing Yutyrannus to the ground. Yutyrannus gets up and tries to jump on Ankylosaurus again, but it swings its tail and it slams into the rib cage of Yutyrannus, shattering the rib cage of Yutyrannus, breaking part of his ribs. Yutyrannus goes flying and slams and skirts across the ground, sliding. Whoosh. Yutyrannus gets up in pain and agony, limping on half its body. It roars at Ankylosaurus and runs up and slashes the Ankylosaurus' face, gouging out part of the eye, but Ankylosaurus just snorts back unfazed. It turns its side to Yutyrannus. Yutyrannus is walking the side as Ankylosaurus turns. It bends its leg down, getting in battle position, lifting its tail in the air. It slams it into the ground and then slams the dirt. It actually hits the dirt and slams dirt into Yutyrannus' eyes, blinding it. Yutyrannus is trying to get the dirt out of its eyes. It's shaking its head. But Ankylosaurus takes this chance and whack! Hits Yutyrannus clean in the face. And that front bit of its jaw just goes flat. It's just shattered. It's obliterated. Its nose, the side of its face is caved in and broken. Half of its face is drooping. It hit part of the lower jaw while the jaw was closed. The lower jaw is dislocated. Yutyrannus is roaring with dirt in its eyes and slashing its hands while its face is going numb. It's bobbing off, about to pass out. But Yutyrannus is not backing down. It charges in one more time, slamming its body, cutting open its body against the osteoderms of Ankylosaurus, being pierced by him. And it slashes at the underbelly. It reaches its arms under and slashes and hits the legs and slashes it out. But that only causes Ankylosaurus to fall on Yutyrannus' arms. arms, slamming its arms into the ground, breaking them with all of its weight going on the joints. But this also takes Yutyrannus' face and slams it onto the top of Ankylosaurus. It's up here, and it falls, and it just goes whack right against Ankylosaurus' osteoderms. So the lower bottom is pierced by the osteoderms. Yutyrannus screeches as blood drips down the osteoderms of Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus takes its tail, and it's able to limp up. Yutyrannus, it's able to limp and get up and step back a couple steps. Yutyrannus, his arms just are limp, dangling there. As it takes a few steps back, its face limp, its rib cage obliterated, and it roars at Ankylosaurus, and Ankylosaurus is able to do a spin, and it catches Yutyrannus right in the skull, and it completely snaps the neck of Yutyrannus, sending its head, breaking its neck, extending its neck farther than the thing can do, popping the brainstem. As Yutyrannus slams to the ground, its mouth, its head slamming to the ground, its brain rattling in its brain case, making it pass out as it bleeds out. Ankylosaurus, for good measure, lifts its tail club up and slams it into the skull of Yutyrannus one or two good times just for good measures, as it snorts out to the world. It just won. So, yeah, I'm giving the impossible edge to Ankylosaurus. Ankylosaurus is an absolute unit of a dinosaur. It is an absolute unit of a dinosaur. It took T-Rex to take it down. Think about that. T-Rex was able to bite through its armor, and that's the only reason that it was able to be taken down. Yutyrannus did not have that bite force. It was also not stronger than Ankylosaurus. If this was like a smaller species of Ankylosaurus, it probably could have bitten through the armor or flipped it over onto its belly. But this is not. So Ankylosaurus actually takes the cake in weight. Yutyrannus could not flip it over. And Yutyrannus was trying to. It was scratching at the belly, digging its claws into it, kind of spilling some blood on the ground. But it was not able to flip it over. So this actually gives the edge to Ankylosaurus. Because Ankylosaurus was not able to be flipped over, that basically means that it's almost GG for Yutyrannus, and it's sitting there screeching at it, waiting to just be obliterated. And that tail club was 800 newtons of force stronger to break a human femur. So if Ankylosaurus swung its tail as hard as it could and it slammed into like your leg would just snap. But Ankylosaurus was able to break this thing apart. It was able to slam it into its face, its rib cage, breaking its bones. Yutyrannus was slashing at its belly, and if it slashed its legs like it did, then yes, Ankylosaurus would fall on its arms. And its superior weight, and even part of the osteoderm slamming into the arms of Yutyrannus, could possibly break them. Or if not, fracture them, dislocate them, seriously injure them. Yutyrannus was not taking this. It was not going home. But it was still an interesting fight nonetheless, and shows the dangerous edge to herbivores. But I'm your host, Eric Crawford. If you want to see me in other places, go check out my Instagram. Apparently, I already had a Dinosaur Trips Instagram open. That's a different day. That's a discussion for a different day. I've been trying to post more reels lately, so on my Instagram here at Prehistoric Life, so please go support me there. Hang on. Yeah, please go support me there. I've been trying to post more reels. I've been posting some Roland Timbo, some Dueling Dinos, some Jurassic Park 3, JP3 stuff. I've been posting a lot more. Get me to 500 followers by the end of the year, and I will do a giveaway. So, do it, please. I'm kind of excited to give this away to somebody. Something I made, so I hope whoever receives it really likes it. But also, if you want to see my content, not all of my content, but these videos early, go to my YouTube channel, Prehistoric Life Podcast. I try to upload everything 2 days in advance for all of you people who are subscribed there. Get me to 100 subscribers by the end of the year. We have 68. So if you guys can get me to 100 subscribers, I will drag somebody on the show to talk about to revamp my Allosaurus episode with fossil crates. And if you want all of that in one place, go check out my website, prehistoriclifepodcast.com. And from there, you can get to my YouTube, my Instagram, and scroll around and look at the videos that are already out. Well, I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off. I will see you all next time for more Prehistoric Life Podcast. If I'm not mistaken, no, that episode's already out. Never mind. I was going to say it's going to be an interview with Jack O'Hara, but that episode will already be out by the time this is uploaded, or it should be out. Well, I'm your host, Eric Crawford, signing off, and remember, keep it prehistoric. Goodbye.